In the last video help, we were in the room billing screen for the popover where we explained how to collect or input the actual amounts that people are being charged and to cover as many of these screens as possible that you needed to. Let's go ahead and talk about payment. Payment takes the information that's summarized in the room billing and then it brings it over where you're going to doing the payment. So in this particular case, let's just take a simple one, like we had a one-liner, and this could be a number of lines, especially if you have long-term people that are staying in your lodging for any more than a week. This could really amount up to a lot of different entries. And what we're pointing out in this is that if you're looking over here, we're using either the short form of the invoice or the long form of the invoice as far as billing is concerned. And we'll go ahead and cover those in a little bit more detail after this video. So what we're looking at is we want to, in this particular video, cover the three sections for the payment. We have a list view where it lists all the payments. And one of the important things to look at on this screen is that if you're doing a find and you want to collect a group of payments or billings and then have the summarization down at the bottom, you put that number of records into the records in selection, and you do that by doing a find and then using the booking ID or the date. In this case, it'd probably be the best to do the booking IDs, and you can do a range of booking IDs, and I'm going to show you how you do that. Basically, you start in and you say start the find, you go to the booking ID, and what you would do is put in a greater than or equal to and start with the first booking ID, and we're going to say let's start with 2, and then we're going to say less than. Oh, we have a little problem here. Let's go back and actually make sure that that is what it's supposed to be. Should be greater than, which is the arrow, and then equal to 2, and we only have 8 records at this time, so we're going to make it less than or equal to and put in there 8. So we'll get 2 to 8. You go over to your do action, you say perform the find, and those are the records you get in there. In this case, you get 8 and 2. It should be greater than or equal to, so we have those billing IDs, and you look down at the bottom, you'll see your summary for those particular ones that are in there. So 285 and 126.45 for 411.45. Now, you have no balances due. You only have the amounts paid and the amounts due that balance out to 0 on balance. Now you could get a record where you had, and let's go back and show all. I'm going to show omitted, and you'll see that I've got one here in the ID number 1 where we have a $6.75 balance. And what happens, these are called conditional formatting. If you have a balance in here, it's going to flag it in a red so you can see them. So if you have anything that's unpaid over this period of time, you're going to see them flagged. And then you're going to see the amount due down here at the bottom is $27.75 for the total. The sum paid is 21, and the balance due is 6.75. So that's what you actually have in here. And then you can do a show all to bring all the records back, and then you have those in there. Okay, so now that we're looking at the actual report, you can see that we had 1, 8, and 2 as the actual total amount of records that are in here. Now, why didn't we have 1 through 8? Because some of these didn't have any entries in the invoices for those records. They were only on 1, 8, and 2. So when we did the search for 2 to 8, we only ended up with 2 records. If you want to review what the record has in it, you click on this little folder, takes you back over here, and this is the record number 2, or 1 that has that particular invoice billing. So if I go into billing, you're going to see that information in here. So that's how it works. And then of course, if you have any questions about the payment is pretty straightforward also. Basically, you take the information of the sum of the tax, the subtotal, and you do the total with these two together, comes up to that amount. You put in the date that you actually received the payment, the amount that was due first, the amount that was paid, the balance that's due, and what was it paid with. And in this case, we're putting the last 4 of either the check number or the credit card. You may ask, why would you put the last 4 of the credit card or the check number? Well, in both instances, if you have any issues with the bank on payment, you're going to need to know either what credit card was used. In this case, it's a Visa ending in 7890 with 4, or a check number with check here and whatever that check number is that you used. I'm talking about the full check number. If it's 7890 is a check number. That's what you want to put in there. The reason that happens is if you have any conflict one way or the other with the bank or with the person that's paying the bill, you know exactly what credit card was used or what check number was used. And if the check either bounces or it doesn't go through and get cleared, you know you can go back and find that exact amount and that check number without having to make copies of all the checks. And that's how you clear it with the bank. This happens, and people do things like that where they cancel their checks or they won't pay their credit card bill. It happened to me this year for $250, where a guy, I did the work for him, and he went back to his bank after he got everything that he was supposed to get, and he rejected that and claimed it as a unauthorized payment. So stuff like that happens. You end up by having to fight the bank for the money. I didn't get the money back, and I should have, because I did the work and I did it to whatever the person was supposed to do or get, and he cheated me out of it. So that stuff happens. Let's go ahead and click to get off of there, and let's go back. We're going to do the next thing we're going to do is local attractions, and we'll cover that next. Thank you.